The Rolling Stones once said, "Time is on my side," but the Rolling Stones weren't part of an ERP implementation or a digital transformation. Unfortunately, time is anything but on your side when you're going through a digital transformation, but not for the reasons you think. That's what I want to talk about here today. One of the best ways to ensure digital transformation success is to learn from the lessons and failures of others that have been through similar engagements. And that's exactly what we'll do at the Digital Stratosphere Conference coming up in September 9 through 11 in Denver, Colorado. Now at this event, we're going to have a number of different speakers, different thought leaders in the industry. We'll have software vendors there. I'll be there. I'm going to be presenting my new book and giving a presentation about this book. I'll be signing the book as well. And we have a number of other speakers, a lot of well-known speakers that'll be there to share their lessons. Networking is amazing. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of good education that comes out of it. It's packed full of stuff. And register now. I've included links below. It's September 9th through 11th. I hope to see you there. It's in Denver, Colorado. You can buy a virtual pass or you can be there in person. So be sure to check it out. Hope to see you there. My name is Eric Kimberling. I've been in the ERP consulting space now for about 30 years. I'm the CEO of a company called Third Stage Consulting. I've also written 3 books about the ERP consulting industry and ERP implementations in general. And one of the things that we often talk about with our clients is the fact that time is important. It's important to all of us. It's important to us to be aggressive and meet our timelines and our milestones. And I'm not here to suggest that time isn't important, but I'm here to talk about how time actually works against you in these sorts of projects. It creates a lot of problems in digital transformations, not just because time is limited, but because we're not good at estimating time. That's what I'm going to dive into here in today's video. Now, if you'd like to learn more about how to make your ERP project successful and how to set yourselves up for more success or a higher likelihood of success, I encourage you to check out our ebook called Lessons from 1,000 Digital Transformations. It's got 20 lessons and 20 of the biggest takeaways that we have from having helped over 1,000 organizations through their digital transformation journeys. You can find that by scanning the QR code right here, or you can go to the links below. So I said at the opening of this video, the time is not on your side. And let's start with the beginning. Timelines are typically sorely over-optimistic and unrealistic in the case of digital transformations. For years, I've seen the same thing over and over. Software vendor walks in the door with their system integrator. They give you a proposal that sounds too good to be true, sounds realistic. If you complain about it taking too long, then they'll reduce the timeline. They'll find a way to get it done faster. And change takes time. Going through any sort of digital transformation takes time. And the key lesson here and the key takeaway is that the technology aspect of a digital transformation is the easiest part. That's the part that's going to take the least amount of time, or it should take the least amount of time. It's usually not the thing that's on the critical path that's going to cause delays, that's going to push things out. Now, technology is integrated with and sometimes tangled up in a lot of other work streams within the project, but it's usually those other work streams that are causing delays. It's things like slower decision making. It's the inability to get your people on board. It's the fact that your teams are misaligned and they're not on the same page with what they want out of the new system. Things like that are what cause projects to get delayed. But software vendors come in and they propose their implementation timelines usually on an overly optimistic set of assumptions. They assume that decisions will get made quickly. They assume that you're all on the same page. They assume that your people are ready, willing, and able to change. They assume that your people will learn the new system quickly. They assume that you're going to easily integrate your processes with your technology and everything's going to be fine. The reality is it's a lot messier than that, and that messiness is not accounted for in most implementation plans. So most of the time we're starting off with unrealistic assumptions and an unrealistic time frame. And it's not just because the vendors are not fully understanding your internal dynamics and the things that might slow you down, but it's also because they're in a competitive situation. They're trying to win your business. If I come in and tell you that I can do an ERP implementation for you, but it's going to take me 7 years, you may not be too thrilled about that, even if for some reason I'm right and it actually is going to take 7 years. It sounds a lot better if I say it's going to take 18 months. So why not start with 18 months? We'll hope for the best. We'll hope that the assumptions I assume come to reality. When they don't, I'll issue a change order and we'll go on our merry way. So that's the dynamic that typically unfolds in these projects. So it's important when you're getting these proposals from your vendors that 99% of the time or more, the initial timeline that is proposed by the vendor and by your system integrator is completely unrealistic. So now that we know that an implementation timeline or proposed timeline is probably unrealistic. It's probably nowhere close to reality. What happens here is that more often than not, organizations believe the unrealistic timeline, largely because they want to, because it sounds good. I'd rather believe an 18-month timeline than I'd want to believe a 7-year timeline. So if I do assume an 18-month timeline when in reality it's going to take me years to implement a new system, what happens is I create an arbitrary artificial pressure on the project that is very unhealthy, leads to a lot of bad decisions. So I'm going to start cutting corners because I have to, because now I'm boxed into a corner and I'm boxed into a timeline that was never realistic to begin with. And my only way out in many cases is to make it realistic by throwing stuff out of scope. I'll implement less modules. I'll spend less time defining the current state. I'll spend maybe 1 or 2 less cycles on user acceptance testing. I'll cram training into a smaller period. I'll force decisions a lot faster before people are fully on board with those decisions. Those are all really bad decisions that may compress the timeline or may speed things up in the short term, but it's going to wreak havoc on your organization later on, especially when you go live, if you even get to go live at that point. A lot of times companies try doing this exercise of force-fitting themselves into this unrealistic timeline to the point that they don't never get to go live because they've cut so much out of scope and they've cut so many important deal-breaking activities that they can't go live on the new system. I'll give you some examples of things that are most likely to get cut out of scope. The first thing I'll start with is the thing that oftentimes doesn't get cut from scope, but it probably should more often, is the technology. So if I bought a whole bundle of bunch of different modules and I thought I could deploy it in 18 months and then I realized over time that I can't deploy it in 18 months, what I should probably do is cut a bunch of that technology out of scope and try to implement less technology. However, you've got a software vendor working with you that's advising you and a system integrator that's advising you that is very much against that because it works against their economic self-interest. They actually benefit if you consume more of the technology faster. So they are going to be biased and they're going to be incentivized to help you make the wrong decision, a decision that could end up being catastrophic for your organization. So what organizations should be doing is cutting technology from scope and focusing more on the organizational and operational aspects of the implementation. But what they do instead, largely because they're advised to do this by their vendors and their system integrators, is they end up cutting other stuff. They migrate less of the data over from their legacy system. They completely abandon some of the customization that they have in their legacy system, even if it's something that's important to their core operations. They don't fully test the scenarios that are key to running their businesses on day one of go live. They don't fully train their employees. They don't fully engage their employees broadly so that they understand what the changes are. And then they wonder why at the day of go live, when we flip the switch, they wonder why employees are freaking out and everything's chaos and a complete mess and they can't ship product. It's all because organizations are cutting the wrong things from scope. What they should be doing, like I said before, is they should be cutting the technology out of scope, implementing less of a technology footprint, but doing it really, really well. That's what I would do if I were forced into a corner or forced into an unrealistic timeline. Now, of course, the real answer here, the best answer, is don't convince yourself that an unrealistic timeline is realistic. No matter what your vendor or system integrator tells you, make sure you have an objective, unbiased view of what it's really going to take to get the job done right so that you can make an educated decision on whether or not it's worth it. And if it's not worth it and you don't like the answer you're getting, but it's based on reality, at least then you can change the assumptions in a way that you're deliberately doing rather than letting it happen to you. Another interesting and destructive dynamic that often happens, more often than not, in ERP implementations and digital transformations is time is used as a way to stop the bleeding. At some point in the project, usually halfway or more through the project, you start to look down and realize we are going to blow this budget out of the water. This is not only going to take us longer than we expected, but now we're spending a lot of money that we don't have budgeted in many cases, or we're going to go past the budget. And the best way I can think of in the short term to stop the financial bleeding is to pull the trigger and go live sooner than later, to compress that timeline, to get to that go live come hell or high water. Now, as I'm going to talk about in the next section, this is a terrible idea. The consequences are catastrophic, and the consequences are going to cost you exponentially more than it's going to save you in the short term. But I'll come back to that point in a moment. And first, stop to say that there is a pressure that teams and leaders are under when they get through this project, when they're already doubling down on an unrealistic timeline, they've been convinced, and they've convinced their management team and their board that it can be done. Now you have something to prove to the organization. And so the last thing you want to do is say, not only are we going to take longer than expected, but now we're going to spend a lot more money than expected. And again, the best way to stop the bleeding financially in the short term is to compress that timeline, because what happens when system integrators come in to the project is they assume the timeline is going to be this. The reality might be this. It might be, say, 36 months, but they're convinced they can do it in 18 months, so they staff up the project as though they're going to implement it in 18 months. And that monthly burn rate, that monthly financial spend, is assuming an 18-month timeline. If and when you get to the 18 months and you realize, oops, this is going to take 36 months, they don't just stop billing you because they've hit their budget. They keep billing you at that same monthly run rate, even though they probably should have just assumed 36 months and had a smaller run rate per month. But that's not what happened. So that pressure was what oftentimes leads to bad decisions to stop the bleeding, when in reality, we should have just had a realistic timeline and budget to begin with. Instead of looking at time as something that is just on this side of the implementation or the go live, we have to look at time overall. What is the overall time this is going to cost us? How much time are we going to invest in this overall? We might declare some sort of victory by saying that, hey, we were able to implement in 18 or 20 months, if that was the timeline we were targeting, but we can't ship product, and we spend years cleaning up the mess afterwards. I would submit to you that that is not going live on time and on budget. You just deferred the risk. You pushed the risk out to after go live, and it's probably going to cost you a lot more time and money to fix it later than if you would have just bitten the bullet, felt the pain, sucked it up, and dealt with it before go live. But we're human, and a lot of times organizations are politically under a lot of pressure to hit the go live date, to hit the budget number, without any consideration or quantification of what that's going to mean on the other side of go live. And if you'd like to talk about or understand what the consequences or the costs of a flawed go live can be, just search my YouTube channel for ERP failures. Plenty of case studies that talk about the failures and how it affected their operations, and the tens or hundreds of millions of dollars lost in just a handful of ERP implementation failures. And the cost of failure after the fact is typically exponentially more than what you spend in the months leading up to go live. So that's the important thing to look at, is the overall big picture, and make sure you quantify it from the overall perspective, not just in the months leading up to go live. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Are you experiencing any of these challenges? How have you managed this unrealistic expectation around time? How have you managed a realistic timeline and budget within your project? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. And if you'd like to learn more lessons like this in terms of how to make your ERP implementation successful, be sure to read our Guide to 1,000 Implementations ebook. You can find that by scanning the QR code right here, or you can go to the links below. So if you found this information useful, and hope you have a great day.